Shohei Ohtani. He hits 450-foot bombs, outruns base stealers, and tosses 100 miles per hour fastballs, all in the same week. He is, statistically and spiritually, the most unreasonable player to ever exist. In 2024, Ohtani became the first player to hit 50 home runs and steal 50 bases in a single season. No one had done that before. Not Bonds, not Trout, not even Ricky. And Shohei did it while rehabbing from elbow surgery. They said it couldn't be done, then he did it. That's the thing about baseball records. The moment you call one unbreakable, someone cracks it just to prove a point. Baseball doesn't just keep records, it canonizes them. DiMaggio's streak, Ripken's durability, Cy Young's absurd win total from a century ago. The game treats these numbers like sacred scripture. Entire generations have been taught they're untouchable. But here's the secret. Nothing in baseball is truly unbreakable. The game evolves, the rules change, the players get weirder, and every now and then, someone rewrites the rule book with a bat, a glove, or just stubborn willpower. This isn't a highlight reel of most hits or best careers. This is a list of the records they said no one could break until someone did. While we're at it, if you're enjoying the video so far, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. We're uploading 2 videos a week right now and hope to soon post daily. Barry Bonds. There are 2 ways to talk about Barry Bonds' 2001 season. 1, he hit 73 home runs. No one had ever done that before. No one has done it since. It's the loudest number in modern baseball. And 2, he did it with a body and hat size that mysteriously doubled in his late 30s, in an era where protein powder meant something else entirely. Bonds didn't just break McGwire's record of 70, he crushed it, made it look soft. Pitchers walked him 177 times that year because they physically could not afford to pitch to him. He still hit 73 bombs. Say what you want about the era, the needles, the legacy, but 73 is the number, and it stayed put for over 2 decades. Ichiro Suzuki. In 2004, Ichiro Suzuki broke an 84-year-old record. George Sisler's 257-hit season from 1920 had stood longer than sliced bread. Then Ichiro came along, all contact, all rhythm, no wasted motion, and hit his way into history. 262 hits, no power hitter magic, no Coors Field boost, just a 5'9" machine legging out infield singles like it was 1910 again. In a game dominated by launch angles and exit velocity, Ichiro breaking that record was like someone showing up to a flamethrower fight with a sword and still winning. Nobody's come close since, because hitting .372 in the modern MLB isn't just rare, it's almost impossible. Cal Ripken Jr. They called him the Iron Man, and for once, the nickname wasn't exaggerated. Cal Ripken Jr. didn't just show up every day. He played, no rest days, no load management, just 2,632 straight games over 17 seasons. He passed Lou Gehrig's record, 2,130, at a 1995 during a moment so culturally resonant that even the most jaded fans gave a standing ovation. Even the camera operators were crying. In today's MLB, where stars take maintenance days and lineups change hourly, Ripken's streak isn't just impressive, it's impossible. It wasn't just about health, it was about principle. Showing up mattered, and nobody has showed up harder or longer than Ripken. Rickey Henderson. Most players sprint to steal second. Rickey Henderson practically teleported. In 1982, Rickey swiped 130 bases, shattering Lou Brock's record of 118. And he didn't just beat it, he left it coughing in the dust. Rickey wasn't just fast, he was arrogant in the best way. He knew you couldn't stop him, and you knew it too. And then he'd go anyway. Today's game barely steals at all. The math guys scared everyone into waiting for home runs. So Rickey's record hasn't just stood, it's aged into legend. There will never be another Rickey, and there will never be another 130. Nolan Ryan didn't pitch, he imposed. Over 27 seasons, he struck out 5,714 batters. That's a number so dumb it might as well be fiction. Second place, Randy Johnson, over 800 strikeouts behind. Ryan wasn't always efficient, he walked a ton of guys, but if you stood in the box, you were getting fastballs. Whether you could see them or not was your problem. In the modern MLB, pitchers are babied. 5 innings, 90 pitches, then the bullpen. Nobody's going to sniff 5,700 strikeouts ever again. Ryan was a statistical freak, and the kind of terrifying presence that made hitters rethink their careers. Liking and subscribing won't fix your fastball, but it will make the algorithm happy. Give it a shot. Joe DiMaggio. It starts small, a hit here, a hit there. Then it grows. 5 games, 10, 20, and suddenly every sports writer in America is following your every at-bat. In 1941, Joe DiMaggio got a hit in 56 straight games. He didn't just beat the old record, he demolished it, and nobody's touched it since. Pete Rose got to 44 once. That's it. Everyone else falls apart somewhere in the teens. DiMaggio's streak wasn't flashy. No bombs, no stolen bases, just pure surgical contact hitting, the kind you don't see anymore. It was one of those records that felt more like a spell, and for 56 days, Joltin' Joe was untouchable. Johnny Vander Meer. Throwing a no-hitter is hard. Throwing 2? Absurd. Johnny Vander Meer did it in back-to-back starts. In June 1938, he no-hit the Boston Bees. 4 days later, he no-hit the Brooklyn Dodgers in their own park under the lights. The first night game ever at Ebbets Field. Vander Meer's feat isn't just unbroken, it's practically untouched. Pitchers have thrown back-to-back shutouts, back-to-back gems, but no one, not Koufax, not Nolan, not Pedro, has done what Johnny did. It's not just improbable, it's narratively perfect, the kind of record that feels more like a dare from the baseball gods. Bob Gibson. In 1968, Bob Gibson stopped playing baseball and started playing Existential Crisis. He posted a 1.12 ERA over 304.2 innings. That's not a typo, 1.12. He faced over 1,000 batters, only 38 of them scored. Hitters left the batter's box looking like they needed therapy, and baseball itself reacted by lowering the mound the very next year. That's right, he broke the sport so bad, they literally changed the rules. No one's come close since, and in the modern game of pitch counts, relievers, and 5-inning starters, no one ever will. Bob Gibson didn't just dominate, he closed the book. Shohei Ohtani. Shohei Ohtani isn't just a unicorn, he's a unicorn that hits cleanup, steals 50 bags, and closes games on Sundays. In 2024, he did something literally no one had done, hit 50 home runs and steal 50 bases. Same season, same guy. That stat line isn't just rare, it's video game level. Even in fantasy baseball, it would get vetoed for being unrealistic. There's no precedent, no competition, just Shohei smiling through translators and ruining every record we thought we understood. And somehow, that still isn't his whole deal. Fernando Tatis Sr. This one's not about endurance or totals, it's about chaos. In 1999, Fernando Tatis Sr. hit 2 grand slams in the same inning, off the same pitcher. Chan Ho Park probably still hears that swing in his sleep. This wasn't a fluke. The bases were loaded twice, and Tatis went deep twice. It's a record that might never get broken for one simple reason: opportunity. You need 2 full bases loaded at-bats in a single inning, and then you have to launch both. In one of the most statistical sports in the world, this one is just pure mayhem. Hank Aaron. Everyone talks about the 755 home runs, but it's Hank Aaron's 2,297 RBIs that might be his most absurd number. It's a record of longevity, consistency, and being quietly lethal for over 2 decades. The closest active player is 600 plus behind, and that's someone with 20 seasons already. Aaron wasn't just hitting dingers, he was driving in runs like it was a factory line. Every year, no let-ups. In today's platoon-heavy, lineup shuffling world, 2,297 isn't just untouched, it's unreachable. Roy Halladay. Postseason baseball is about pressure, high leverage, bullpens, nerves. Roy Halladay didn't care. In 2010, he threw a no-hitter in his first career playoff start, only the second ever, after Don Larsen's perfect game in 1956. It wasn't just dominant, it was surgical. Halladay carved through the Reds like it was a July afternoon. In an era of relievers and pitch counts, that kind of one-man show isn't coming back. Not in October. What Doc did wasn't just rare, it was postseason perfection, with spikes. Tony Gwynn. Greg Maddux is arguably the smartest pitcher of his generation, maybe any generation, and Tony Gwynn hit .394 against him. No qualifiers. That's career average against a guy who walked more batters intentionally than unintentionally. Gwynn didn't strike out against Maddux, not once, not in over 100 plate appearances. There's no official record for owning an elite pitcher this hard, but if there was, it's this. It's the most respectful kind of insult a batter can offer. Your best, not good enough. Trevor Hoffman. Before closers were closers, Hoffman was the template. From 95 to 03, he had 30+ saves every single season. No other closer matched that consistency, not even Rivera. He did it with a changeup that moved like it owed money, and a calm that made late innings feel safe. Injury, regression, didn't matter. He just kept shutting the door. The stat might not sound flashy, but in a job where one blown save can ruin a season, Hoffman built a fortress out of reliability. And for 9 straight years, he was the lock on the league's back door. Ted Williams. Ted Williams didn't hit. He calculated across 19 seasons, interrupted by literal wars. The man posted a .482 on base percentage. That's nearly half the time he stepped up. He reached base. Let that sit. Today's stars flirt with 400 and get MVP chatter. Williams nearly hit .500 for his entire career. Pitchers feared him. Fielders respected him, and fans still argue about whether he's the greatest pure hitter to ever walk into a batter's box. .482 isn't just a number, it's a monument. Randy Johnson. Most pitchers fade at 40. Randy Johnson turned into a myth. In 2001, at age 40, he struck out 20 in a single game, tying the MLB record. No one else has done it that late in their career. Johnson didn't throw, he detonated. He didn't just maintain into his 40s, he peaked, and the numbers never recovered from the trauma. Miguel Cabrera. The Triple Crown was supposed to be extinct. Batting average? RBIS. Home runs. The sabermetric era told us those stats didn't matter anymore. And then Miggy won all 3 in 2012. First time since Carl Jastrzemski in 1967. Cabrera didn't just hit for power. He hit for control, for timing, for moments that mattered. We haven't seen one since, because hitting is hard, and doing it all at once is nearly impossible. But for one glorious season, Cabrera made the impossible look inevitable. Craig Kimbrell. Some closers flame out fast. Craig Kimbrell exploded out of the gate and never looked back. He was the fastest in MLB history to 400 saves. Quicker than Rivera, quicker than Hoffman. For nearly a decade, Kimbrell wasn't just dominant, he was surgical, intimidating, and that stutter step windup became a 9th inning death knell. You could argue about aesthetics, but the numbers are ruthless. And the record speaks in gas and K's. Ozzie Smith. Shortstop is baseball's busiest job, and for 13 straight seasons, one man owned it. Ozzie Smith didn't just play defense, he made it an art form. Barehand grabs, airborne flips, glove work so clean it should have been in a museum. 13 straight gold gloves, in the most defensively demanding position in the game. That's not consistency, that's a dynasty. It's a record that blends talent, timing, and pure audacity. Nobody's touched it since. Because nobody else was the wizard. Pete Rose. Pete Rose didn't care about style. He cared about contact. He broke Ty Cobb's record, a number that had defined baseball for 6 decades. 4,256 hits. That's not a career, that's a life's work. He did it without elite power, without jaw-dropping speed. Just hustle, consistency, and a bat that never cooled off. The Hit King's name comes with baggage, but the number stands, and no one is catching it. Sandy Koufax had a short career, but for a 5-year stretch, he might have been the best pitcher ever. From 1962 to 1965, he threw a no-hitter each season. That's 4 in 4 years, including a perfect game in 1965. His curveball dropped off tables, his fastball hit warp speed, and when it all synced up, good luck. Koufax walked away early, arthritis, but those no-hitters, they stuck around. Nobody's matched that run, not even close. Wilbur Wood. Wilbur Wood was a knuckleballer, which is baseball code for weird guy with infinite stamina. In 1972, he pitched 376.2 innings. That's not a typo, that's 2 seasons worth of work in 1 year. He started 49 games, finished 21, and probably iced his shoulder with motor oil. Pitchers don't even train for that anymore. The number is from another era, another planet really. You could argue it shouldn't happen again, but you can't argue that it did. Dennis Eckersley, Eck reinvented what a pitcher could be. He started his career as a front-end starter, then flipped the script and became the game's most efficient closer. The only man in MLB history with a 20-win season and a 50-save season. That's not just versatility, that's rewriting your own bio mid-career. Eck didn't just adapt, he dominated. From both sides of the bullpen door, Don Drysdale. In 1968, and the same year Bob Gibson posted a 1.12 ERA, Don Drysdale went on a streak of his own. 58.2 innings without allowing a run, that's 6 straight shutouts plus change. He was big, mean, and made hitters uncomfortable, often intentionally. Drysdale's streak was eventually broken by a sac fly, but by then, the damage was done. It stood as the gold standard until Orel Hershiser finally passed it, by 1 out, 20 years later. But Drysdale's run? Still iconic, still terrifying, still the kind of thing you only do once in a century. Jose Altuve? Jose Altuve is 5 feet 6 inches, in cleats. He wasn't supposed to be a power hitter, but somehow he's racked up more postseason home runs than any second baseman in history, by a mile. He's passed Hall of Famers, mashers, legends, all while anchoring one of the most polarizing dynasties in modern baseball. No one thinks of him as Ruthian, and yet, every October he does something Ruthian. The record isn't just unexpected, it's defiant. Roger Clemens. There are dominant pitchers, and then there's Roger Clemens, 7 Cy Youngs. That's not a typo, that's basically a Hall of Fame career, repeated twice. He won his first at 23, his last at 41, with 3 different teams, in 2 different centuries. The record won't be touched because modern aces don't pitch deep enough, long enough, or well enough for that long. Love him or loathe him, Rocket didn't just chase greatness, he made it standard. Cy Young. Let's get this out of the way. Nobody's breaking 511 wins, ever. Cy Young pitched in an era where starters threw complete games like warm-ups. His career numbers are so absurd, they don't even look real. He won 511, he started 815, and he finished 749 of them. That's not a stat line, that's a career in overdrive. They named the pitcher award after him for a reason, because Cy Young didn't set a bar, he built the whole gym. Babe Ruth slugged .690 for his career. That means across decades, across stadiums, across wars and eras, he basically turned every at-bat into a doubles machine. The next closest is .634. The gap between Ruth and everyone else is a canyon. We talk about his 714th home runs, but this stat is quieter and meaner. He didn't just hit bombs, he hit like a cartoon character. Mariano Rivera. October doesn't do mercy, unless you're Mariano Rivera. 96 appearances, 141 innings, 0.70 ERA. That's not dominance, that's surgical elimination. Rivera wasn't just the closer, he was the closer. With one pitch, the cutter, he sawed off the best hitters in the world and made 9th innings a formality. His regular season stats are elite, but October was where he lived, and nobody's ever lived there like Mo. As we're nearing the end of the video so far, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. We're uploading 2 videos a week right now and hope to soon post daily videos. Subscribing helps us achieve that goal. Thanks fam. Yadier Molina. Catching is baseball's punishment position. You squat, you take foul tips to the throat, you live in pain. Yadier Molina did that 2,000 plus times, and for one team. He wasn't just a backstop, he was a wall, a tactician, a captain who knew the opposing lineup better than they did. The wear and tear alone should have broken him, but year after year, Yadi just kept showing up for the Cardinals. Only the Cardinals. It's loyalty, durability, and masochism, all in one stat. Dave Kingman. This one's a bit cursed. Dave Kingman was a power hitter, but he was also a walking strikeout montage. He struck out 1,816 times and walked only 442. That's a 4-to-1 K to BB ratio, the worst of any 400-hour club member. This isn't a record anyone's proud of, but it's real, and given how today's hitters are coached to walk or mash, it might stand forever. Sometimes the most unbreakable records are the ones nobody wants to touch. Max Scherzer. Max Scherzer doesn't do subtle. He does violence. In 2016, he became one of only 4 pitchers to record 20 strikeouts in a 9-inning game. He did it with anger, spin rate, and those demon eyes. 20Ks used to be unreachable, then Scherzer made it feel inevitable. In the era of bullpen-heavy rotations, this feat is already rare. To do it cleanly, without needing extras, is borderline mythic. It's not about dominance, it's about decimation. Corey Seager. Corey Seager doesn't do noise, he just stacks banners. He won World Series MVP with 2 different teams, the Dodgers and the Rangers. That's not just rare, that's legendary company. Only 3 players in history have done it. In an age of media narratives and stat overload, Seager just kept hitting, kept showing up when it mattered most. If baseball is a game of moments, he's authored more than his share. Records aren't supposed to fall, that's why they're called records. But baseball is full of players who didn't get the memo, players who weren't interested in sacred cows, historical context, or impossible odds. They just played. And when they played long enough, hard enough, or weird enough, they shattered something we thought was permanent. That's the magic of baseball. The record might feel eternal, but it only takes one lunatic to make history flinch. And the best part? There's always another one